Libertarian is someone who says you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want to be. Just don't force others to be like you.
Got it.
That's what we are all about. We are all about long-term solutions, not short-term solutions. We're all about changing culture, not just changing law. Law, we have to remember something. At the end of almost every single law is a guy or a gal with a gun who will put you in a cage. And if you don't want to go in that cage, he or she is going to kill you. That means you only use law when it really matters, not just because I'm angry, not because I don't like you, not because you should do some activity I think you shouldn't do or whatever the case may be. It's only for important things like life and liberty and property and things like that. That's when you use violence. That's when you use force. That's what libertarians are all about. Yes, it is Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live. Thank you so much for seeing me today. Guys, you know what I'm going to ask you, because I ask you every single time I do this. Please like, comment, and share. It does matter. Let people know that there are libertarians out there having a chat, and we are drinking coffee. At least I am. The brand is strong. Drinking coffee. It's the afternoon, and I can't survive without it. So that's why it's Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live. I am very lucky today. I have with me, he's an author, an entrepreneur. He's a nonprofit director. He's a professor. He's all kind of cool stuff. He's the man himself. The man himself. And I hope I say his name right. I might mess it up, so I don't want to say his name wrong. Connor's easy part. Connor, did I get it right? Drigotas?
Nailed it. First try. It's incredible.
Dakotas. Yes. There we go. I got Drigotas. There we go. Connor Drigotas. So glad you're here today. You are the author of the book, Work for Liberty. Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
This is a big deal for a lot of libertarians and people in the liberty movement, not just libertarians, also some Republicans and Democrats, but heavily libertarian-based, is that we all want a job in the liberty movement. We all want to move it forward. We all want to do this. And man, it's a problem. And one of the biggest things we find is the jobs that we can get, they're all unpaid. They're all free, and we got to pay bills. So how do we make that happen?
Yeah, well, you know, necessity is the mother of invention, as they say, right? I mean, we all get faced with these difficult situations where we have to pay the bills, and that's oftentimes where most people's liberty engagement ends, right? Hey, I got to pay my mortgage. The first thing that's going to go is going to be the 10 hours that I'm spending on the causes I actually care about.
Absolutely.
And for me, it was very much the same, right? I found myself unemployed, actually. Back when I met you for the first time, when I was working on a Senate campaign and you came down to help do some fundraising in Philly, we had this amazing opportunity to create something. And I found myself unemployed and made a promise to myself that I would never take another job again that wasn't purpose driven. And I'm very lucky to say that today I work for Liberty full time, and I have for the last 3 years. So being able to do that is exactly what this book is about. I want to put practical tools in people's hands, because when I was unemployed, I had to scour the internet, all of these places where it was not easy to pull all this together.
Sure.
But now my goal is that I can put it in people's hands and help make that process go from the 6 months that I spent searching to weeks or a heck of a lot less time, maybe even without quitting your 9-to-5 that you hate now, to get something that actually matters to you. And when you wake up every morning, you're excited to go to work.
I love that. For those of you who want more information on Connor, heading over to Twitter. It's CDDRIGOTAS. And by the way, just click the link in the description. I put it there for you. Just click that link, heading over to Twitter, check out what he's doing. He's talking about getting work in the liberty movement, which is hard. But you've mentioned to me in the past the idea that sometimes you want to take on the free job, right? The job that doesn't have any pay. But at one point, it's got to change. And the other point you brought up is that's often the one that goes away the fastest.
For sure. I mean, it's a crisis in America, right? I mean, purpose in work is something, you know, when I work with first-year students at Lehigh University, one of the things that I'm always trying to overcome with them is, why are you doing what you're doing, and where do you want to be? But it seems like a tremendous waste to spend 20, 40 years of your life working at a job that you hate, only to enjoy it in retirement and then start to pursue stuff you care about? Absolutely not. There are thousands of jobs available working for liberty right now. We have more than 700 of them posted and more being added every single day as new jobs become available in our community that's built around the Work for Liberty
Give me an
movement
example
here.
of that. Give me an example of what you mean by that, right? I mean, people often think, well, if I'm working for Liberty, that means I'm working on the Ron Paul campaign, right? I mean, that's
Right.
what people think of when they think of working for Liberty. But there's many other ways to be working for Liberty. Give some examples of that, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, first thing I want to make sure people understand is that you do not have to be a policy wonk to be working for Liberty, right? Sure, think tanks are part of this world, but there's law firms, grassroots organizations, advocacy groups, even political positions, and these companies aren't just looking for people with PhDs. I posted 2 jobs this morning that are entry-level administrative positions answering phones. These are businesses at the end of the day, even if they're nonprofits, and many of them are. And what that means is that they also need the infrastructure. So if you're in finance now, or you are just a friendly person with a passion for liberty, that's a very valuable skill set. And you can get hired. And a lot of these jobs, I should also say, for some of your listeners who are very, already in the middle or late stages of their careers, we're posting executive jobs, CEOs, directors, folks who can make well into 6-figure incomes working for Liberty full time. So these are a wide variety. And our goal is that instead of having to scour the internet, let's put them in one place where you can go find them, learn, connect with other people who care about liberty, and really get something valuable and help others as well, which is just such an important part of this whole thing.
Isn't it very common, right, that when you get a job in Liberty world, it's really not of the highest quality because they don't have the resources, right? The resources go to the mainstream Democrat, the mainstream Republican. That's where all the money goes. So now if I get this job, it's going to, I'm going to be on I'm going to have a pager still. I'm not even going to have a cell phone, right? I'm not going to have anything, right? Because if I'm going for a Liberty Democrat, the mainstream Democrat gets everything. Liberty Republican, the mainstream Republican gets everything. And I'm working for someone that's actually libertarian, they got nothing, right? Isn't that what people worry about?
It's certainly something to worry about, but I think one of the biggest differences is so often when we think about liberty, a lot of that conversation is around politics, and that's important. Don't get me wrong, but there's a whole movement of people out there who are focused on principles instead of politics. So yes, they can fight on policy issues, but sometimes it's just whole companies that are out there changing hearts and minds, and that's their goal. It's not just to win, a state house election or a federal election. We just want to make sure that our communities are taken care of.
Got it. Okay.
In so many ways, we can win that battle for liberty easily.
Wow. Okay. Let me grab a couple comments if I can. I got a bunch of comments I want to pick up. What brand of coffee are you drinking? This is actually instant Nescafe. So just so you know, that's what it is. That's not always say, but that's my most common one. I drink whatever coffee my wife brings me, whatever she buys, and I make. I just didn't bring me. Actually, I actually bring my family coffee. I make the coffee and bring it to them. But whatever they put in the fridge is what I use. So there we go. So, director, my daughter is going in for a play tryout at 4:30. Any advice? I don't think he's that kind of director, Adrian. I appreciate that. But I
wish I had that skill set.
I will give you some advice, and if I can, I will. And I've been a director a couple of times in small issues, in small arenas. Here's the advice I would give your daughter. Whatever she thinks they want, do the opposite. And I'm very serious. Whatever your daughter thinks they want, do the opposite, because everyone is going to be doing that. So don't do that. So if they want the star to be someone who is super mean, be lightly evil. If they want the star to be overly, happy, make her kind of happy. They want to be kind of happy, make her overly happy. Do what they're not expecting, number one. And two, your daughter needs to not be afraid to show her emotion and be vulnerable. If she's prepared to put it all out there and be vulnerable and not do what they expect, that's the best chances of your daughter getting that part. So I hope that was helpful. So anything you want to add to that, Mr. Director of a nonprofit?
Oh, man, I wish I was qualified to answer those kind of questions. Sometimes I feel like that would be a heck of a lot better than anything else.
I'm not qualified to answer anything. I just answer. I have no qualifications. I just answer stuff. I got a college degree in anthropology, and I'm telling her how to make her kid a star. I don't care. Whatever. I'll answer the question. You ask me, I'm going to answer it. So, yes. Tom says, when it's safe, I want to help. I'm 60 years old, and first time I want to get engaged. Tom, I'm in whenever. Let's touch that. Is there a place for people who aren't, 19 and excited and ready to go, make the next revolution?
Absolutely. Obviously I mentioned the folks who are already advanced in their careers in some ways, but one of the other things that I found has been really helpful in the community that we're building around this idea is that we're also including internships and fellowships and education resources. So if really it's in here to a certain extent, if you have that passion, if you have that drive, there are so many tools out there. I want to plug an organization who I'm not affiliated with at all, but the Leadership Institute down in DC. Sure. They offer classes many times for free, but also at a very low cost. They're a nonprofit, and they teach everything from how to do communications, how to write a great op-ed, how to do media, how to fundraise for a nonprofit, how to change your congressperson's mind, right? So they offer low-cost training that anyone at any age can go down. I have benefited from their education tremendously. And I send people there all the time just because I think so highly of their programming.
I like that. Sam says, thank you for coming on and sharing your resources.
Happy to help, Sam. This is awesome. And I'm so glad to have people engaged with this idea. One of the cool things I want to make sure that I mention is this group that we've started. It's a Discord server. We're at about 350 people in there right now. And wow. As I said, almost 1,000 jobs posted. Is, in the beginning, it was just me posting a lot, right? And I was posting jobs every day. And what it's really turned into is we have people who are getting together on video calls to help each other fix up their resume. We're getting together and talking about how to write a good cover letter. And other people are posting jobs and resources. And that's really one of the greatest things that could have possibly happened, right? The Liberty Movement should be a movement where we lift each other up to accomplish great things. And I'm so excited to see that happening.
You walked into the next question, which Deborah says, what would your advice be to organize one's resume to cater to Liberty jobs, i.e. work first, education first, mission statement, volunteering, etc.? Do you have any advice for Deborah and others?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm going to put on my professor hat real quick because I think there's some blanket rules that hit really well here. The number one thing that you can do when applying to a job is they already assume that you're interested. So even in a liberty-focused organization, yeah, you might want to demonstrate that you're aligned with their mission, for example. But what you really want to do is make sure that you have a good understanding of what they are asking for in the job. So if you're applying to be a director of communications and you end up talking about how important culture is, maybe that's relevant, maybe it's not. You want to pull out key skills in the job description that line up with what your skill set is, and then actually sell yourself along the terms that they've already said, we want this. Make sure that you understand their wants. That's also just a great way, regardless of what you're applying for, to make sure you understand the job as you're headed in.
I'm going to give you guys, you didn't really ask this there, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. There is, because I'm not qualified to answer any question, so I'm just going to do it anyway. But if you want a really good cover letter for anybody, there are 3 good parts to a good cover letter in general. And again, this is a general rule. Specific jobs may have specific rules, obviously. But the first one, I think, is you want to have a first paragraph that actually has an emotional reason why you want the job. Not just because you're physically qualified, but because you care about the thing, you care about the people, you care about the something. There's some emotional connection. The more generic your cover letter is, the less chance people look at your resume with a positive spin. The more specific it seems like you've done one resume for one job, the more it feels that way, the better chance the person looks at your resume with a positive spin. So if it's just like, dear hiring manager, here's the stuff I send to everyone, they're probably going to finish reading it. But if it's dear hiring manager or whatever the thing is, when I saw this ad on, the server, I thought, oh my God, that's what I talked about when I was 18 years old. That is now an emotional piece. And okay. So Deborah actually wants this job, not just a job. And I think that's a critical aspect of a cover letter. The second piece is exactly what we're kind of talking about. I would talk about how your skills directly connect to this job. Not just that you have the skills, make a direct A to B connection on why they actually connect to the job. And the third thing I would do is I would give them a picture of what they get if they hire you. That's how I would do it, right? That's my view. And I've done a little bit of hiring and firing in my life. And I like those ideas. I do. It tends to make me want to read a resume with a better spin. Clearly, if you're unqualified, you're still screwed. But I'm just saying, right? You'll at least get the best spin out of me if I like your cover letter. Am I making sense, Connor, or am I off on this?
No, I think you're spot on. One of the other things that you might want to consider is making sure that your resume is framed around what you've accomplished, not just what you've done. So often I see resumes come through, and this is a real statistic. The average human resources manager spends 8 seconds looking at a resume.
Yep.
So that is not much time to make a first impression. So if you're leading with what's most relevant and you're using action words, right? Developed, led, anything that you can say that it states what you've accomplished, not just what you did, puts a feeling in their mind very quickly that you're the type of person that gets stuff done. And that is what you need to get your foot in the door and hopefully have your resume make it to at least the second round where they're going to spend 20 seconds or hopefully a full minute on your resume before tossing it in the trash.
The thing I have a little rule on this. And the rule is every bullet point in your resume should have either a number or a name drop. Otherwise, what are you doing? Right? That's a little rule. And I'm personally, some people disagree with this, I think you never write out numbers. You always put the digits because the digits, like you said, pop out of the page. And I'm only giving you 8 seconds, as you said. So I want digits, not written out numbers ever. Some of you English majors will probably be mad at me for saying that. But I'm just saying I always want digits in a resume or a name drop, meaning either a company you work with, an individual you work with, a title you worked with, something like that. Or a number, like you said, right? Was able to get X percentage of growth, work with a team of 55, 25, people in this or whatever. That's what I like. So I think we're on the same page, man.
100%. Thank goodness. I'm glad.
I guess we're both qualified. I love it. So yes. So Logic says, happy wife, happy life. Yes, absolutely. So whatever coffee she wants is what I get. Sarah says, again, Libertarians providing real solutions. What a fantastic program. I'm not sure what she'll do. So I think she'll do something. There we go. So, all right, good. So, Friar Steve says, please make sure your daughter has a professional headshot. Yes, thank you, Steve. You are correct. That's always a good thing. And the reason why the headshot matters, for you guys don't know, it's not that they actually care that much how the headshot looks, because they're seeing you, but the fact you have a headshot is the same in theory as having a professional resume. It shows that you care enough to have the headshot. That's what Steve is talking about. It has to be a professional headshot because, okay, you're serious about this. This isn't just some fad. You actually have that. So yes, that's awesome. Thank you. So, all right. John says you need to get a sponsorship to run your mouth coffee for the show. Ooh, that's not a bad idea. The official coffee of Uncensored Speech. I know the co-founder. It's me, John. Give me a call, brother. You got to have something now. See, we got to do that now. So then I'll have your mug, your cup, and all that stuff, and we'll do it. I'm in, man. I'm in. I will totally sell myself down the river for this. I believe it. So you got someone who wants help now. Catherine, I want help now. I'm an unemployed single mother of 2 small children. I worked on a political campaign in Massachusetts, and I live in New York. I haven't found any like-minded people near me. So what advice can you give someone like Catherine?
Yeah. The first thing I want to just acknowledge for Catherine and everyone out there listening is that right now people are struggling.
Yes.
It's a tough time in the world. And, one of the reasons that I want to be really transparent about the fact that I spent 6 months destroying my savings account, paying my mortgage to pursue principal work is because so often the only story we get is a story of, I got an amazing job and it took me 2 minutes. And because, I happen to know the CEO and, we just texted and he offered me a 7-figure job. People are struggling. People are having a hard time. Yep. So when you find yourself isolated, please just know that there are communities out there. Obviously, I'm going to say my community is great. And I love the Work for Liberty folks. But there are so many people out there building amazing movements of people moving in the direction of liberty. And I just say, use the internet, find those communities, reach out to me. I will help you find communities that are the right fit for you. But never feel like you're alone, because you're not alone. And there are a lot of people out there who can offer you support. And that's
his
really
Twitter
the most
right there.
thing there.
His Twitter's right there.
Absolutely.
You can also click on the actual in the description of the show. In addition, I did get your email, by the way, Catherine, and I already sent it to my team. So we will be talking about if we can help use you for our team also. So I didn't forget about you. She actually reached out and my team let me know and flagged me. So yes, so we're already talking already. So that's something for you, I guess. I hope that's nice. So Deborah wants to know where you live. So there we go. You got somebody already talking about this. How do I gain contact with Libertarians in Massachusetts? I can't receive any responses from emails. Look at that. If anyone can help out Jan, please do so. Do you happen to have any, Connor?
So we do have folks from Massachusetts in the Discord. One thing that we haven't done too much yet is kind of divide and segment. Right now, being under 500, it's kind of one big group. Our goal is to grow this membership to around 3,000, where we can have people pushing jobs in specific states and specific areas. Right now, it's just mostly divided up. We have channels that are just for legal jobs or just for policy jobs. Mostly to cut down on notifications, right? If you're not interested in working in the legal space, you're probably not going to want to be annoyed by those notifications. But in the future, we can further subdivide that. But I know we do have folks in Massachusetts, and I actually have a few folks in Massachusetts myself. Reach out. I'd be happy to put you in touch.
There we go. Well, John is a fan, by the way. He says, Connor, you're the man. Love this idea. Do you have a site to aggregate the Liberty job postings? Is that your Discord or is there something else?
Yeah, so I think what John's referencing is going to be the Discord is going to be the best place. And I think I saw that you have the link to the Discord, a permanent invite in your YouTube comments. I don't know if that's on the other channels as well. But it's a one-click in, join, and you'll get a welcome message with directions of how to access all of these different channels. But right now we're using the Discord as kind of a hub, right? That's one of the biggest problems is in the 6 months that I was searching for meaningful, purpose-driven work, it's almost like they're hiding these from you, right? You're searching through footers, you're searching, jobs in Liberty and Google, of course, isn't going to support you in that search. So if we can pull it all into one place, the Discord is the place to go. Please come in and send me messages there with any questions you have. One of the other things we're doing that's possibly relevant is we also have a Google form set up, so a brief survey, because we recognize even if you're not looking for a job right now, you should still check it out because you might be able to help other folks, or you could just be more in the loop by the time you do decide to pursue a job in Liberty. For those who are looking right now and need that extra support, we have a Google form set up. You go and fill out a survey, kind of let me know, ballpark salary, what areas you're interested in, give me your resume. And just in my free time, I take hours out of my week just to hop on the phone with people, talk about what their career goals are, and then hopefully help tag them in relevant jobs so that they can be first on the list and get their application in there early and beat the crowds.
There we go. I love that. Logic Rex says, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was told never use numbers. Interesting plot twist. Yes, I know. When the English majors are going to be mad at you, they don't want you to do that. Yes, I get it. But I think my view, exactly to Connor's point, is that it's fast. People go through it quickly, particularly if they get a lot of resumes. Remember, if they get a lot of resumes, they're not looking for reasons to hire in the initial one. They're looking for reasons to throw away, right? So the first round of resumes that come in, they're looking for reasons to discard so they can whittle it down to those they actually want. And then as Connor said, they then take more time in the second round or the third round. So your goal has to be get past the first round, right? Get past the first round. And my view has always been things that pop out, that those are the things that, okay, yeah, let's keep this guy, let's keep this gal for the next round. And you hope eventually that you get to the round where you actually get the phone call and hopefully get the actual interview. That's absolutely the hope. So, but we've been talking a lot of warm and fuzzy stuff, Connor, and there's a downside to this. And that is so many Liberty jobs, they can be disheartening because you're trying to achieve something, you're trying to gain some more freedom, or you're trying to fix a law or fight a rule or get someone elected or change some zoning or whatever is the thing you're trying to do, get more people involved. And very often we fail. Very often we lose and we try our hardest and it can be disheartening. Any advice for someone who's like, Connor, I've done this before, man, I'm just It's tough. Any advice for that?
For sure. It's such an interesting point. And the only thing that I could say really in response is it's a heck of a lot better to be fighting a good fight and getting paid for it and being surrounded by other people who are also invested in that mission. I think we can all be really honest that we aren't going to wake up in a world tomorrow where liberty has won. We're not going to wake up probably in 2022 in a world where liberty has won. But 2030, 2050, the pieces that we put together today, and when we come together as a community in liberty to fight for these ideas, that's how we're going to put it together. So often, individualism and liberty gets this idea of, well, I'm a libertarian, I'm an individual, so I'm not going to, work with other people. I'm going to go this alone. And I think that's one of the biggest misunderstandings about the liberty movement right now. Coming together voluntarily to accomplish great things, that's where the value is. That's where we're really going to be able to do great things. And guess what? Like you said before, we're not going to do it with a gun to each other's head. We're going to do it because we care about each other, because we care about our neighbors, our communities, our country. We care about this world. And liberty is absolutely, time and time again, has shown to be the best way to help people. It's 100%. A compassionate message, and we can do that in the long term by putting our foot down, drawing that line in the sand, and putting in the work to get the job done.
I'm so happy you brought that up. I mean, the concept, a lot of people say, well, I'm libertarian, so I'm more individual-minded. That's not necessarily true. It just means you're not force-minded, right? Yeah. I mean, to be forward, the Amish are very socialistic, and they're libertarian because they don't force you to stay. You can walk away from the Amish if you want to. You can go, you know what? No more. I'm going to go buy an iPhone, right? You can do that if you want to. So I think we have to make that distinction. It's not that we're against coming together. It's not that we're against working as a team. It's that we're against being forced to work for a team or being forced to come together. But if we choose to come together, I mean, that's the strongest of them all. Right? The voluntary connection that we all have a purpose. We all have what I call all the time the gold standard of leadership, if you can get it, is to get diversity of thought with unity of purpose. If you can get that, man, you are rocking and rolling. That's what we all really want, right? Everybody thinking a little bit differently, but all going towards the same thing. Now we're rocking and rolling. I think that's what libertarianism provides. The liberty movement provides if we can actually make that happen. I'm so on board. So let me go to the last piece, your book. How do we get your book? And more importantly, though, how do we use it? Right? I want people to get the book, but I don't want them to have the book, put it in their bookshelf and say, look, I'm going to virtue signal because I'm cool and I bought Connor's book. I would like them to actually use it. So tell us how we get it and how we use it.
Well, the easiest way to get it is on Amazon. That's where it's available for sale. But what I want to say too is you should not get this book because it's the next great American novel. I am not an amazing writer. This is not going to be, Steinbeck here for y'all. But what you are going to get in this book is real practical advice. We're talking about things like how to put together a resume, how to put together a cover letter. How do you handle behavioral interview questions, which are so common, right? Tell me about a time when, and then, actually going through a formula for how to answer those and how to prepare. The other thing that you're going to get in there is a discussion about purpose, right? Liberty is a big tent. And I spend a portion of time talking about how to actually look inside and decide whether or not it's going to be a legal journey or a grassroots journey or a think tank journey. And also to acknowledge the fact that what your purpose is today might not be your purpose 3 years from now.
Oh, yes.
Okay. We have to continue to analyze and move forward. So again, putting tools in the tool belt to help people get practical knowledge. That book is available on Amazon. I'll be real honest. This isn't a money issue for me. This isn't something I'm trying to push into. 100% of those proceeds go right back into advertising the book. And there's a free PDF of the book available to everyone who joins the Discord, because I want to say this is selfish. I am selfish because I want more people fighting for liberty with me. I'm tired of doing this with just a group of people who, quite frankly, are in the minority. The more people that we can get working for liberty, the better off I'm going to be, the better off the world is going to be for my family and my community, and the better off we're all going to be together.
I completely agree. I'm greedy. I want 7 billion. That's how many libertarians I want. I want 7 billion libertarians. That's exactly what I want. Absolutely. Yes. So Tim says, I need to make $1 million so I can get Larry Sharpe elected. I appreciate that. Yes. But I mean, I think there's another piece this is a piece that's kind of philosophical in a way. And that is particularly for the youth. The youth often say, I got to help. I got to help now. What can I do to help now? Because they're so excited. And often I'll tell them, the best thing you can do is make yourself more powerful so that you can be more effective, right? I mean, one person's great. I'm happy when there's one person. It's nice. But imagine if you were one person who had the influence to get 5 or 6 or 8 more people. Well, now you're more powerful. Or you have the cash that Tim says, right? So you got the cash that Tim talks about where you can pay a bunch of people, right? Whatever. However you get that influence to move others to do things, that's kind of one of the best things you can do. So, I think getting a job in liberty is amazing. You move a little bit forward, but now you make some money to where, like you're talking about, you can write a book, or you can start a podcast, or you can support somebody to win an election. You can do all those cool things. I really think it's a very valid point. I'm glad Tim brought that up. Absolutely. So is there anything you want to bring up that we didn't talk about, something I might have missed?
The only thing I'd want to hit on again is just the idea that you're not alone. There's a lot of people who find shows and podcasts and books about liberty because they feel like maybe they're the only ones in their community who are interested in this kind of idea. And I had a conversation earlier today about, I was a random connection, like digitally connecting over a lunch with someone who I'd never met. And it took us about 45 minutes to realize that we actually shared a lot of the same ideas. And it was really rewarding, but it also really woke me up to the fact that a lot of us are a little timid to share what we believe in because there's a tremendous social pressure to not be in favor of liberty today. Yes. You are not alone. And there are so many communities out there. Join ours, join another, find your people, and let's make the world a better place.
Oh, how could I end it better than that? Let's make the world a better place. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Connor, thank you so much for coming aboard and sharing all your resources. Any of you guys who want to check him out, in the show description on YouTube and Facebook are all his internet things. Click on them, connect to him, help him out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back next week with another Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live. Connor, thank you so much for joining us. I will see you all next week.